Hey y'all, I'm out here listening to a confused rooster. That old sun has done its job here in East Texas today, and it's on its way down to the horizon, I guess we're spinning up to it, however that goes. But I got a rooster, doesn't know which way it goes, and it's over there crowing like it's morning. Goodness, it's been, I was starting to think this thing was broke. It's been about 3 weeks since we talked last. Doesn't mean we hadn't been busy here around the place. I guess just too busy to jump on and kind of give an update. Of course, if you've been following along, the old garden is rough shape. But it set us on some different paths. My wildflower came up a couple of weekends ago, I guess it was, and we tried to get a mess of peas. Out of about 2,000 foot, I think we might have got 1/8 of a bushel. It was slim pickings in the most literal way, but those flash floods we got at the beginning of the year pretty much washed all the nutrients out of this old garden, and the weeds don't need much, I guess, because they're doing fine. But that's all right. We're on a different path. We move and groove as we go, and we do have some watermelons if I can keep them old tom turkeys out of them and the coons. Sissy is on night watch now, so she's been kind of getting spoiled in the house, but her little snock, the little kitty cat, I think that cat thinks this is her mama, and Sissy don't mind. That's all right, but she's got some coons to keep off the place this evening. She don't know it yet, but she's not gonna sleep in the house tonight, because what little bit we did make, we got to protect. Ain't that right, girl? But y'all can see behind me, I over the past couple of weeks or whatever, we've been analyzing and thinking about new directions and ways to farm this old place. And I'm going down some paths. Some of y'all may have seen the few YouTube videos we're putting up. I hadn't stopped doing that project, but it takes some time to do some testing, and I'm compiling those videos as we speak. If you want to follow along, it's some of you may know about it, some of you may have not heard of it, but it's a product called biochar. It's nothing new under the sun. In fact, it's thousands and thousands of years old, but pretty excited about some things we're working on there. When I moved in 3 years ago, I got out on my hands and knees pretty much and plowed through the undergrowth and all up there at the house. And I've made a comment several times over the last couple of years. I don't know if I still had it in me, and I may not have it in me tomorrow, but I had it in me today. We got some plans for this old pear orchard up here that's just completely overgrown. As you can see, that's the fence line, and the fence ain't close. It's about 10 foot in to the underbrush. But had an opportunity this afternoon to get started, and I set out with my limb loppers and my crosscut saw just by hand, and we let the old earth here see sunlight for the first time in a long time. How about that? Didn't get too far, but that's how you do it, a little bit at a time. That's a pile of brush, isn't it? I mean to tell you, boy, it hurts me to cut down them little old oak trees, but they're everywhere amongst the privet hedges, and none of y'all need to be griping, because you wasn't gonna come get them anyway. No, we're making room for thinning it out and making room for other ones to grow, because you get in there and you get bottled up, then nobody grows right, and that's no good. So we got to do a little conservation management on that, and we got that done today. But as you can see, that old fence row's behind me there on the berm. So I got a lot of work to do, y'all. But it'll get done in time as we have time. But that old privet hedge just takes smooth over. I think I channeled my inner Joyce Johnson, my mama, today. Well, she loved to clear some property. We lived on the end of a dead-end street in Huntsville growing up, and she'd work all day and come home, make sure we had something to eat, and you'd find her out there in the woods. We didn't even own it. It was just dead land, woods, just pulling vines out of the trees. She was something else. But I was pulling on them vines today, and got several acquaintances going through some life changes, all of them for the positive that I know about. Just kind of throwing away some negative things and moving forward in a positive way, and that's always good. And it crossed my mind as I was pulling them old green briars if y'all have done any land clearing to speak of, or even been out in the woods, you know what I'm talking about. These old things right here, that's one I missed, but it ain't got long to live, I can promise you. But it struck me, I don't use gloves. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one, but maybe she won't get on to me too hard. But I'm pretty good at pulling them down, know how to navigate it. But you know, when you make a change like that and you're pulling them old vines out of your life, if you will, at the bottom, them old vines are covered in stickers, and it's tough because it's all ingrained into that tree and wrapped around and wrapped around. But if you'll be careful and just go at it easy and steady and keep pulling, it'll come on down. It'll untangle itself out of your life. And as you keep moving and keep pulling, it gets easier. First few days and first few weeks, maybe even months for some, is a little hard. But eventually you get down to the part of that vine where there's no stickers, up there at the top, new growth. It hadn't got hard up there yet. And it just pulls right out, and you can throw it on the fire and put it behind you and keep moving. It's those first few feet that's tough, the first few days. Proud to see so many acquaintances plowing through those thorns and getting to the easier pool at some point. But now we're going to count it as a blessing that we didn't have a garden this year. I had time to clear that because I wasn't supposed to have been picking peas and shelling them, but that ain't happening. Not this year. I think I was doing better when I didn't know everything, or thought I knew everything. Just got out here with a hand plow and a tiller and went after it and had a beautiful stand of peas. And then I thought I'd get too big for my britches and plow the whole pasture up. And I got a nice crop of weeds. That's all right. New directions, and it's going to be a really cool blessing. We're going to put in an orchard out here. Some of y'all following along may know what's going to be an orchard of, but the corn didn't make it all. I'm not tall, and it didn't even come up to my waist, much less make an ear, so it was time just to plow it under and move on. I was blessed to come across an opportunity where there's an unlimited supply of bark mulch. And I'm telling you, I got to thinking, like, what would I do with an unlimited supply of bark mulch? Well, I'm almost out, and they're still trying to keep up with bringing it. But we're going to restore the land here. Again, all that topsoil washed out. But over the next few months, this good hot mulch is about 6 inches deep on these rows. And it'll compost on down. And we've got some other plans to amend that soil. We've got our cuttings going on, so looking forward to new opportunities, right? We'll still have us a good little vegetable garden, but I'm going to scale it back and go back to what I know. Ain't no sense in putting an acre in it if I can't get anything out of it. I think I'd do better with a few thousand square foot. But I guess I'm hard-headed and learn my lessons hard at times. But I don't know that it's a dream, but story was told the other evening I heard, and boy, it just stuck with me. Based on a true one, as far as I know, it is true. Old boy named Monty Roberts grew up as a son of a traveling horse trainer. Didn't have much. They were town to town, just making ends meet. Didn't have much schooling, but he knew how to work hard. Finally settled long enough down to go to school to finish his senior year, and his teacher assigned him a paper about what their dream was, what they wanted to be in life. So he had a little time to do it, and he put together a pretty decisive paper. He had dreams of being a big horse rancher, big house, a lot of land. Wrote 7 pages about it, turned it in. Thought he did well. A few days later, he got it back, and there's the top circled in that old red marker. They still use red markers? They ought to. Kind of emphasizes things when you're wrong, huh? We're right. But he had a big old F at the top of that paper. Couldn't figure it out. Teacher told him to see him after class, and they'd discuss it. So he did. And she said, "Monty, I'm sorry, but you have no education, no money. no resources. That's an unrealistic dream you wrote there for 7 pages. I can't let you think like that. That's why I gave you an F. If you'll go home and revamp that paper and give me something more realistic, we'll reconsider the grade. But it hit him in the gut, and he went home and thought about it. It took him a week. But he decided to go back, and he had something for the teacher, his paper. He turned it in again with no edits. He looked that teacher right in the eye and said, "Ma'am, with all due respect, I'm going to keep my dream. You can keep the F." True story. That man lives on a 200-acre horse ranch now, 4,000 square foot, beautiful home. And right above his fireplace on the mantle, that paper is framed with that F circled in red. That's something. Don't let anybody take it from you. Good or bad, unrealistic or not, hope is probably one of the most powerful forces in the universe and can really pull somebody out of despair and keep you moving. A good friend of mine down Conroe Way, Justice of the Peace, shared one yesterday on another note. Of course, his job is to officiate with the deaths in the county and proclaim the deaths. And been a rash of bad ones here lately, and people without hope, suicide. He was imploring folks to reach out and lift those up that might be in need. And I think I shared it on my personal page. But good man, good heart. Good to have those type of officials in place, because I know him as a man, as a friend. He means every word of it. But Sissy's off and about. A big old black lab come over this morning. I didn't see it in time. Nobody got hurt, but Sissy let that thing know that she was the boss of this place and he didn't belong here. I was over there feeding the chickens and heard Sissy out by the mulch pile running. I didn't think I'd ever seen her run that fast. That big old dog was twice her size, but went running right through there. And I don't know where he was going, but he got there pretty quick. She stopped down there at the driveway and let him go on. But I don't reckon he'll be back after that. That dog is a treasure, for sure. Well, not much going on here, just a lot of compost and future plans for next year. And that takes a little work. And that's what I decided to do up there. I can sit there and look at that old pear orchard all grown up, or go up there and do something about it. So I did something about it this evening. Boy, it sounds pretty. Sitting over that hay meadow. They just mowed it the other day and got them some hay off of it. Well, let me do a quick roll call. Oh, speaking of bark mulch, I don't guess I'd have thought about it without proper influence from my wildflower, but we're headed down the painting the house road pretty quick. We got to strip it first, so we're kind of at a standstill on that. But here's those silly tomatoes, y'all. That remember, I got mad in March. Not mad, but just upset because all my starts had been destroyed by a mouse. So I just threw them all out here, and lo and behold, they just came up on their own. I don't have a tomato in that garden that I planned, but these unplanned ones came right on up, and they're already putting on a few little old tomatoes. Ain't that something? But I thought I'd do a little country landscaping, put some bark mulch down the side here, get the grass down. But, it's all right. We'll take it. Let me do a quick roll call, and we'll call it an evening. But we'll try to jump on a little bit more regular. We've just been working on the biochar project and getting that orchard ready, and that's been full time, I'll tell you. Let's see who all's on here. All right, let me scroll back up here. Kind of like that old boy in that hot air balloon. He, that's what I feel like this year, because it's been such a ride. Him and a crew was trying to hold that old balloon down, And something happened. It got a little bit too much hot air, and it started taking off on them. And everybody was trying to hold it down, and everyone that let go made it even lighter and harder for the next piece, the next few that was holding it. Well, it finally got down to that one old boy, and it was off the ground. He was in a mess. He was about 10 foot off the ground, and he didn't want to drop. So there went the balloon all over the countryside. It was up there too high for him to let go of it and survive the fall. Police were following it, and EMS and ambulances, and finally it cooled off enough to where it started sinking. They'd been up there for hours. He finally got down to safety, and they ran up to him and said, "Man, how in the world did you survive that?" He said, "Well, when I saw that I couldn't get off of it, I just tied a knot in it and hung on. Didn't have a choice." So we're tying a knot in it here on the old place, and we'll make it work. Sometimes that's what you got to do, right? So here, some of y'all hadn't seen this. First, I found that old horseshoe plowing up out here by hand 3 years ago. Don't know anything about it. I think Mama had a few horses on here to lease, and I called this the horseshoe garden. I might need to. It's right. It's facing the right way, but I think the luck done spilled out of it. But it's still there where I put it. Got the old nails in it, so we'll just do the roll call here by this old pine tree. How's that? All right. Before I get to rambling again, let's see what we got. There's Miss Donna down Huntsville Way. Wild man, she says. How are you? There's my daughter-in-law, Felicia. Bella says, "Hi, Chicken Pawpaw," and Jasper is smiling. He had a little flare-up with RSV last week, and kind of gave us a scare, but he's got some medical attention. He's doing fine. Sure want to see that little booger. There's my buddy Randy. How are you, bud? Mike's in Cottonwood, California. It sure is hot out there from what I've seen. There's Mr. Matt. Ain't seen you in a bit. You okay? Yeah, everything's going good. Just been too busy to hit the go live button, I guess, Matt. Good to see you on. There's Mr. Ron May. Hey, y'all, back to you. Miles is checking in from Arlington, Texas. Leanne, good evening, Joel, from up Texarkana way. Thank you for checking in. Miss Elizabeth Montalvo, former co-worker of my sister. Good to see you checking in. There's my good buddy Lewis down in Waco. Donna's checking in. Good evening to you. Charlotte Taylor, caught you live raining here in West Tennessee. Well, we got to get a little rain this morning here, enough to fill up all my big mineral tub buckets, and I'm in pretty good shape on rainwater. It's been a while since I've been there. Let's see. Lyle is checking in from Canton, Sumter, South Carolina. Miss Carolyn, always love to see what you're laboring on. Love the clearing you're doing. Looking good. Thank you, man. If y'all interested in that biochar project, jump over to our YouTube channel. That's where I'm posting those. I don't want to inundate the page with it, but boy, that is some very intriguing stuff. The technology's nothing new. It's just, I think all the answers are here. We just got to find them, and that's one of them. We're having fun on that journey with the worm tea and compost tea and charcoal. It's so far I'm liking what I'm seeing, so we'll see how that works out. You're more than welcome to follow along over there on YouTube. There's Joanne. Hey, how are you? Long time no walk and talk. Yeah, it's been a while. Come burn that brush for you. Well, you're welcome to come sit around it and gander at it while it burns. It's going to be a hot fire for sure. I imagine it's going to end up in my biochar barrels, and we're going to turn it into something that we can put back in the soil and make that thing gin out there. We'll see. Alexa's saying howdy. How are you? Let's see who else is on here real quick. Uh-oh. My girl down Georgetown way, Miss Courtney. How are you? Shaylee and I finally caught you live. Well, that's a treat. You're normally working at this time of the night. I guess I should have went over there and saw Marshmallow for you. Courtney is Shaylee's mother, and Shaylee's the one that named that little old baby goat Marshmallow. And she is fat as a tick. So she's got a way she can still get out of the pen, and she has her unlimited grazing out there. She's got her little hole she gets in and out of, but it's too small for the other goats, and we've got an arrangement. I just let her get out and do what she needs to do. She's normally right behind me. All right, let's see. There's Miss Misty. How are you? Good to see you on. Miss Joyce out in Florida, Louisiana. Wood brings more these days in the garden, or weed. Matt. Yeah, probably so. I don't know if it's that kind of weed, but we'll see. Miss Patty, good evening from Forney. Let's see who else is on here. Oh, I see Pam is checking in. I meant to call you, Eden. Thank you for those elderberry plants and the egg cartons. I missed you. I don't know how I did. I was home, and the time I got to the door, you were already rolling down. Maybe who knows what I was doing in there. But so good to see you. Stop back by and we'll give you some eggs for too long. Them, chickens ain't producing like they were, but we're still getting enough to give out to the friends and family. Andrew, good evening to you. Good to see you walking and talking. Turn the goats loose on those cut branches. Yeah, they've been hollering at me all evening. Every time I go to cut, and they're ready to go get it. So I imagine they'll get a little bit of it before it's over with. There's Jamie Thompson. Remember the night I wanted to eat a bullet. Thank God I thought of the others in my life and called them. I've been there too, Jamie. And got to keep moving. Got to keep moving. That's a story for another time. But hope matters. Got to keep it. Got to keep it. Where there's life, there's hope. Thanks for the great message. Hope always been my force to keep going. That's right. God bless. Thanks, Lewis. I'd come to Waco and see you on one of my trips down to Georgetown. I just never seemed to get on the road early enough to have any leisure time. And I'm ready to get down that way. Gene, Martinville's in the house. There's Mr. Lyle from Canton. I think I got just about everybody. There's Pam saying howdy. Melissa, good evening to you. Put my neighbor George Wilson on the prayer list. He's in the hospital with COVID. Goodness. I guess we kind of forgot about COVID around here on the front of our brains. Nobody's talking about it much anymore. Of course, it's still a threat. So y'all remember that request, Mr. Lyle's neighbor. Gina Marie from Wichita. I don't know if that's Kansas or Texas, but either way, how are you? There's Miss Misty Baird up in Missouri. Howdy to you. Karen Wood, finally caught up with you. Well, I'm moving slow today after all that clearing, so I ain't hard to catch. There's Lori, Love Your Homestead from Waxahachie. Miss Patty Pope, hello, sir, from Georgia. Love watching. Where are you from? I'm from East Texas. Been all over this area. Moved back from Waco after 10 years, back to this old family home place. This is Nacogdoches, oldest town in Texas, and hard to say. There's Miss Rhonda. Good to see you, ma'am. Vicky, just joined. Had to rewatch to hear info on work tea. Yeah, it's over on YouTube, and I'm chit-chatting back and forth with a guy that's on a professional level, been doing it for a while, and it's of course that science on all that stuff can get real heady and complicated, but I'm going basic with it. I'd encourage you to do the research. Just don't take what I'm doing, but I think what I'm doing is going to work pretty good, so we'll see. Miss Aggie from Allen, Texas. Vicky's in Burleson. Goodness, I guess I've been off too long. Everybody's on tonight. Fertilized cream, leg bar, eggs for the incubator if anyone interested. If you're around Nacogdoches, we may need to talk about it, Vicky. Send me a message here on the page, and we'll see. Lisa is in Oak Cliff, Dallas area. And let's see. Sue's a little late, but God bless you, Brother Joel from North Carolina. Donna's saying hi to Aggie. All right, I think I got everybody. My mosquito spray has worn off for real. So I'm going to have to wind it up for the evening. Got some chicken in the crock pot in there, and if Jordan hadn't robbed it already, we may have dinner before it's over with. He won't. But y'all have a good evening. Be the light, and tie that knot. Hold on to hope. It matters.